thumbs up.
Yeah. Well, don't touch that dial. Quite literally. If you're in New York City, because of Zohran Mamdani ordering people to turn their AC to 78 degrees, which is, can we be honest, an unlivable temperature for men.
It's very hot.
Maybe for women who are always cold, but I don't know.
Those are communist temperatures,
yes,
right?
Yes.
Explain to me a little. Give me the context here.
So I have the tweet right here because it's very hot right now. Finally,
Sweltering.
It's been cold all winter. It was very cold spring. We finally have some nice, sunny, hot weather, admittedly, but we have our air conditioning to keep us cool. But he says it's straining the power grid. Oh, it's straining the power grid, blah, blah, blah. Set your AC to 78 degrees, turn off lights, electronics. You're not losing that. Yeah, that's fine. If you're not using things, turn them off, whatever. That's fine.
Wow.
They do this in Europe. When you're in a hotel, you have to have your key card in the thing.
Yeah.
So when you're not there, it shuts off, which it's fine with that. I don't care that much. I mean, it's nice to come back to a nice, cool room to keep it running.
And we are rich enough now that we should be able to afford
Lindsay, my co-host on Rising, was telling, she said, what, you don't, if no one's going to be in your apartment for the day, you don't shut off the air? I'm like, no, are you insane? If I'm going on like an odyssey, if I'm going on like a many-month journey across the globe with a Zeppelin or something, then I wouldn't even shut off the air. I would up the temperature or something.
You wouldn't want to leave the AC on to cool down all the suitors who are trying to steal your better half.
Yeah. So, well, if I was leaving the boy, then he's got although he's a woman, so he's always cold. So he'd turn that. When he's at home by himself, it goes off, I'm sure. Yeah,
it is kind of remarkable what a hot issue AC has become.
Cool down.
Very good.
Do you remember the commercial from the 90s with that commercial just play over and over again for air conditioning with that like nagging scold of a wife saying, another scorcher out there, you gonna call the company? I'll call tomorrow. I'll call today. You'll call today. You don't remember that one?
No, this was a little before my time, I think.
That was just awful stuff.
Yeah. Well, it's funny
what
that...
a domestic prison
that
poor man is in. His
that...
nagging harpy of... we're going in a different direction.
That's why he wanted the AC, so something else would whine in his ear for once.
But I hope all New Yorkers defy their mayor. I call for imminent lawless action. My speech might not be protected.
Yeah, it's been 6 months, and he's already issuing ration cards for the air. Mm-hmm. He's rationing the air. Yeah, it is funny. Just because this is the constant war on Twitter. Europeans saying that you don't need to use AC. You just need to cover your house in yogurt.
Meanwhile, they're dying by the thousands.
It's
not funny, they actually are, but it's... Or by whatever the crude counting measures they use there.
I guess it would be metric
tons. It's a bushel, a metric unit of...
No, I think that's got to be an imperial system. Okay. Yeah, they would just use kilograms. So it's interesting to see him import the European privation and poverty into New York City that he now runs. Yeah, maybe they'd have more power if they didn't shut down that nuclear plant a couple of years ago, right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Matthew Petty, our colleague at Reason, was in the UK, and he wrote a great piece about the air conditioning wars. They just don't use air conditioning. Yeah, like 90%. I learned this from him. 90% of the homes the UK don't have it. 80% in the rest of Europe, and Europe is wealthier than places that do use air conditioning. Like there are poor countries that use air conditioning. So it's purely like an aesthetic, and then eco-lefty people have convinced them that you are immoral if you would get air conditioning. It's like you guilt your neighbors out of installing it. Is what he describes. Wow. And what other people I know have described. Like you're not expressing solidarity with the cause. It's almost like a Calvinist type thing. Like suffering is good for the soul. Man is fallen, and it is our condition to struggle through this life, sweating, having difficulty breathing, so that we will get our reward in the next life.
Right. Being cool and comfortable is just an invitation to sin. Right.
Right.
This is why I only run my AC on feast days. Sunday, boom, that thing is on.
Yeah.
It's funny. I actually just returned from a week-long vacation, and I forgot to turn my AC off, and so I am a little miffed about the power bill that is then coming down from this. But
and that again, that's how you solve this. You just
prices.
People pay prices. You don't need price controls. You just people want to run their AC more. They just pay more electricity or whatever it is.
Yeah, I haven't been a close study of this issue, but I do wonder how much of it is it literal prohibitions on air conditioning, or is it just people don't install them because energy prices are massively high?
In Europe, it's a mix of literal prohibitions. It's almost running up against a NIMBY type stuff.
Yeah,
or you can't be. It's like zoning rules prohibit it.
Can't have a box in your window.
Right, you have to get your neighbors to sign off on it. I mean, there's some of that here. If you want to put, Matt Yglesias wrote once about wanting to put solar panels on his home, and the fight he had with with the zoning board to just make slight changes to your own property, which was clearly a radicalizing experience for him, as he's become much more moderately market friendly-ish.
He's cooled down.
He's cooled down. Actually, we're going to talk about him more in a little bit.
Our disappointments with
yes, we do have our differences. Anyway, air conditioning is great. I love America. I love air conditioning.
Yeah, this 4th of July, say no to the red commissar.
Yes,
and blast that baby.
Crank that AC. If you're too cold, you can put on another layer. If you're too hot, there's nothing you can do except, streak naked. And people don't like when you do that for some reason in polite society.
Well, I guess in Europe, they roll around in the mud like pigs.
They wallow like the animals they are. Yeah. Yes.
They do this other thing where they sift through their garbage like raccoons. It's called recycling.
They pick through it. It all just goes to some landfill. Anyway,
but
recycling, the ultimate lie.
At least they get to wait a year for a doctor's appointment. You know? So that's good.
Sometimes I like to put the recycling down the normal trash chute and the normal trash chute down the recycling chute, knowing that both chutes converge on the same location
and will be picked up by the same truck and brought to the same landfill. Yeah.
Oh,
these little acts of protest.
These are secular religious traditions.
James C. Scott called this anarchist calisthenics.
Yes.
Right? It's like when you ignore the crosswalk sign or whatever. You have to have a couple little things where you just fuck the man in your day-to-day life, right?
That's right.
Or otherwise you end up voting for these radical communists up there.
But enough about fucking men. Let's move on to the SCOTUS birthright decision.
Yes, I'm happy we're talking about this.
We actually learned some things.
This is a first for Freed Up. We are actually coming into this modestly informed.
I am very prepared to talk about this. I read much of the decisions and the dissents and then commentary on them to try to understand why people were so mad.
Yes, I read a good 80% of the 180 page opinion.
Yes.
Is the whole thing called an opinion? All the concurrences and dissents, you just call it
the opinion.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I read all that. I read a fair amount of additional commentary. I even listened to a podcast on my off hours, walking home.
So a lot of the conservative commentary is stuck on it's somehow Amy Coney Barrett's fault because she's a woman. Yeah, I wonder what the AC said in her place.
Yeah. 80, if she even has it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though she did not author the decision.
Right.
And she actually, we'll get into it.
So, yeah.
Go ahead. I've said a lot already.
Okay, so let me just lay some factual groundwork here.
Hit us with some facts and logic.
Yeah.
Those facts don't care about my feelings. And my feelings are delicate and easily hurt.
But I guess how you feel would be a fact of some kind. Something to ponder for a later episode.
Wow.
Yes. Okay. So Trump has this executive order purporting to exclude from birthright citizenship the idea that if you're born in America, if you come out of your mother here in this country, you are a citizen.
Yeah.
He tries to exclude temporary visitors, birth tourists, they're sometimes called, people who come to America, have a child just so that they can get citizenship but have no intention of residing here. And the children of illegal immigrants, right? He gets sued over this, works his way up through the courts, and the Supreme Court, in an interesting... It's hard actually to count the votes for this decision.
It's very interesting.
Yes. So they're 6-3, the Supreme Court. The three liberals, Kavanaugh, Roberts, Amy Coney Barrett, rule against the administration.
Yeah.
5 of those, excluding Kavanaugh, say the 14th Amendment and its citizenship clause protects birthright citizenship for anyone born here, basically regardless of circumstances.
They basically said it says what it says.
Yes.
The 14th Amendment just says what it says, and that's it. And if you don't like that, you have to amend the Constitution. Mm-hmm. And there is a kind of beautiful simplicity about that argument that conservatives would admire in other cases because, you know, there's going to be a gun case that comes before the Supreme Court next term, I think, about, you know, assault rifles or whatever. And they're going to rule using the same exact logic that the majority applied here that, well, you might wish the Second Amendment said right to bear arms, but not those arms, or not if it's the mass shooters, or, well, we couldn't have anticipated blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. No, it doesn't say that.
The right to bear arms shall not be infringed. That's straightforward and simple.
Pretty straightforward.
That's what we're going to apply here.
And all persons born in the country subject to the laws therein is also straightforward, and the court said it's straightforward.
Yes, this is the only alleged source of ambiguity of the 14th Amendment is it says, you know, people born in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the country and the state in which they reside, right? And then, so the constitutional arguments in the case turned on what subject to the jurisdiction thereof is. The majority, or at least a 5-person majority, excluding Kavanaugh, said jurisdiction is a very straightforward word. We know what it meant then. It just means that the laws of America apply to you. And so basically that just means if you're born here, they pull some stuff from common law about if you're, you know, born in, you know, you're subject of a British king, you just had to be born there. You were subject to the king. He owed you protection. We imported this concept to America. When they wrote the 14th Amendment and then the previous Civil Rights Act, everyone agreed that birthright citizenship meant just jurisdiction meant you were born here, right? And this was explicit repudiation of the Dred Scott case, saying that citizenship is determined by race, basically, right? You had Kavanaugh, who ruled on like the statutory grounds, like there's a law passed, you know, establishing this.
He basically ruled against it being an executive order.
Yes.
He said an executive order from the president can't contravene immigration law, and immigration law basically endorses birthright citizenship. Yeah. So it's wrong for that reason.
Yeah, and it's interesting too, because it's like you talk about conservatives who are normally like, what does it say on the page? We go with what the Constitution says, regardless of, you know, its practical impacts. Kavanaugh, in disagreeing with the constitutional case that the 14th Amendment protected birthright citizenship, makes though he kind of denies this in his opinion, makes a living constitutionalist argument. He's like, oh, they didn't really have to deal with massive waves of immigration back then. That wasn't really something on their mind. And so we should have more leeway to deal with a new issue now, right?
Right. Which I can understand why people would feel that way, because it is true the kinds of immigration issues we're dealing with are not really what was on the table for them when they were contemplating this. But that's true of the First Amendment and the Second Amendment and every aspect of the Constitution. And again, you can fix it. You just have to actually amend the Constitution.
Pass an amendment.
I appreciated Kavanaugh, you know, the executive order was... So what Trump did was very big and bold, right? Yeah. Via executive order, and the strongest possible, the most totalizing rejection of the concept of birthright citizenship.
Yep, overturning 120 years of precedent and laws passed by Congress.
And when you get into the other dissents, it's very interesting that they also don't adopt that argument because of a clear split in the type of birthright citizenship we're trying to exclude. So Thomas has this long dissent.
It's the majority of the opinion is his 90-page dissent.
TLDR, you can just read Gorsuch is a page and a half, and it's a very clear page and a half. But they're coming to similar place. Gorsuch goes a little bit further in separating the tourists, someone who just comes to the U.S. to give birth and get whatever the advantage of citizenship is for the child, and then goes back to wherever their home is. as a different case than someone who came to the America as an illegal immigrant, but lives here.
Right.
They came here intending to live here. Now, they're here illegally. They're children. So what's their situation? So these are two cases. So the dissenters actually split these up because Thomas is saying that the tourist birth people should not enjoy birthright citizenship, but the children of the illegal immigrants who just live here, Thomas basically says, I don't know.
He equivocates on this point.
Gorsuch goes farther and says, it seems to me they would get citizenship because they are domiciled here.
Right.
And because he doesn't want the Supreme Court generally has not taken this position in the past, well, then who are you a citizen of?
It would be you would be a stateless person.
Which they don't want to create. This would create a huge category of stateless people.
Yeah, and this was, the whole, or a major point of the 14th Amendment, which is to not have a huge portion of people who live in America. America's their home, but they're not citizens and not subject to all the protections that America offers. So if you
count all that up, it's more like 7 or 8 votes against the idea that Trump could unilaterally stop the children of illegal immigrants who live here from having citizenship.
Yes, you could imagine a slightly different case that is 8-1 in favor of birthright citizenship for illegal immigrants.
Right.
Or maybe, excluding, if it's just a pure constitutional challenge, excluding Kavanaugh, it would be maybe 7-2 because Thomas equivocates on this.
Right.
Or maybe it would be 6-3 on the constitutional point with Gorsuch, right?
Right.
But what is so funny watching
It's a really interesting case.
It is actually quite fascinating.
Yes.
And so just like to add a little more color, Thomas's 90-page dissent is all about how jurisdiction includes this other principle of being domiciled here, right? You're subject. It's not just that criminal laws might apply to you. It's that there's this other aspect of birthright citizenship that was, and he has a long, discussion of the history that, it excludes transient visitors, right? People who have no intention of living here, right? But again, it's like the big swinging constitutional arguments here are about something that basically no one cares about. And the people who are mad about this decision, that's not their primary concern.
That is really interesting because I have noticed that too, that all of the disagreement with this decision or pushback on it, I mean, it came up when I talked to Amber about it, has hammered home the preventing the tourists, visitors, people, which I think that I don't think it's totally unreasonable to say that whatever, like people from, especially people from like hostile nations should just come here and plop out a baby and go home, or like we should take some. Now we can take other means to prevent that, and that maybe I don't know how widespread a problem this actually is because I don't know that much about it. Maybe it is a widespread problem. We should do something to prevent it, but that was not what I heard initially. It was about the children of the illegal immigrants.
It's cope.
They wanted to get rid of birthright citizenship because they wanted to disincentivize illegal immigrants from coming here.
Yeah.
And every single justice that Trump appointed, all 3 of them said it's very likely the case that we would have to consider those kids to be Americans under the 14th Amendment. So you just big L on that.
Right.
Now, I think the other thing is, sure, maybe you can construct some argument. Again, that argument lost too, but I can see like the argument for why they didn't mean, visiting diplomats, and maybe you could say they also didn't mean, I don't know, some Chinese hostile person comes here, gives birth, goes back to China. It's that kid does have a domicile and a country of origin other than the United States. It's China. Yeah. It's where they came from. That's much clearer.
Yeah, and the constitutional, and I think Kavanaugh is pretty honest about it in his concurrence, is the constitutional case for including temporary visitors giving them the benefit of birthright citizenship is more ambiguous, right? You can look at a lot of different statements from the authors of the 14th Amendment, and because of the way they wrote back then and the way they talked back then, it can often be confusing. And so it's like, okay, maybe the visitors don't count. There's a solid constitutional case there, probably, right? But again, that has nothing to do with the thing that people going into this case, and again, a lot of the right-wing negative reaction to it, what they cared about most, which is the children of illegal immigrants, and the vast majority of people for whom their citizenship is controversial. The decision is pretty stacked in favor of them getting birthright citizenship.
If Congress had passed a law restricting citizenship benefits to temporary visitors, it's possible it would have, even though according to this decision, that would not have even stood.
Yeah.
But it's possible, given the way the court does some politicking, that I think you could have had that one win. But that's not what they did.
No.
Trump did a sweeping executive order. Yep. And this court has not loved sweeping executive orders, to its credit.
No, yeah,
to its credit. I'm high on the Supreme Court right now. I mean, God love them.
This has been the theme of so many of their rulings in the tariff case and so many others. It's like just begging Congress to do just a little bit of work. They are putting Congress on a performance improvement plan. They did, you know.
We are the legislature now, because Congress doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
And they had some other good decisions. I didn't pay very close attention to one, but they had. I mean, I agree with it. I know maybe some libertarian people don't. Making it easier for the executive to fire heads of agencies. I'm generally in favor of that because the heads of agencies are not subjected to democratic norms of accountability. And yes, it's not good if the executive is just like firing people for purely political reasons, but. These are all the sprawling bureaucracy does so much and is not subjected to any kind of constraints.
And is making substantive policy
decisions. Substantive policy decisions. The person we have some accountability over is the executive who we elect, so he should be able to fire at will people. I could see why people would disagree with that, but
I think this is as a non-law scholar, I think this is an interesting case because the criticism of creating positions within the executive branch that then the president can't fire except for cause, right?
Yeah.
The criticism of that is, the Constitution says the president has the executive power, right? And so if someone works in the executive branch, they work for him, he should be able to fire them. And so what you're doing by putting them outside his ability to fire them, or her ability, maybe someday, hopefully, you're creating this fourth branch, the administrative state.
Think what the temperature would be set at in the entire country.
It would be hot, my friend. It would be at a boiling point, whatever temperature that is.
Yes.
I think there's two arguments against this, right? One of a more libertarian bent, and one, just like maybe more liberal or whatever. One is like, no, the people that you're, can't be fired except for cause and are making substantive policy decisions within the executive that the president can't fully control, they are operating on authority that Congress has created, right? Congress passed a law giving them this power, right? They have the power to legislate. They've created agencies to, staffed with experts to impose regulations. And so by the executive firing them, he's not reclaiming executive authority, he's intruding on Congress's authority. So that would be one argument, take it or leave it, right? The other I've heard made by, Ilya Soman, who's a contributor at Reason, sometimes writes for Volokh, George Mason University professor. Basically, he says you can't do, the idea that the president has all the executive authority, that's called unitary executive theory, right? He says you can't divvy up unconstitutional powers based on traditional unitary executive theory. So if Congress creates an unconstitutional power to regulate air conditioners, right, or set interest rates or whatever else, you can't then say, but that unconstitutional power actually belongs to the president to set, right? Congress hasn't intruded on the president's power because he never had that power to begin with, neither did Congress, right? And so, the question is then how should courts rule given that they're exercising unconstitutional powers and they're not going to strike down these laws as an overreach of the federal government. So what do you do there? Yeah. But that would be the other argument against it. But no, in general, I think, it's good to see, we have separation of powers. It's good. And the president should be able to hire and fire people. Yeah.
Right. And then the other case from this week was exactly an example of that, I would argue, overreach by the federal government, the trans sports decision, which was a case where a couple states, maybe more than two states, I don't know, states said, we're going to restrict participations of trans women in female sports. The federal government said you can't do that because of Title IX and a variety of federal laws prohibiting sex discrimination in educational programs. They won, and I think that's correct because I don't think the federal government, I don't think Title IX means that. Yeah. And in absence of a federal policy for how this should work, I would just leave it to the states to do what they want.
Yeah.
And so I agree with that, kicking that back to the states.
Yeah, I did not read that one, so I can't comment too intelligibly on it. But I mean, just on like a policy grounds, like, yeah, of course. Like, there's
seems like a no-brainer.
Yeah, there's biological differences. I mean, the whole point of having rules in sports is to ensure competitiveness, right? And having separate men's and women's leagues does that.
And given how much we're arguing about what they should be, it seems like we should just let the states decide. And
right, because it's a matter of active controversy, right?
Right. Yeah. I'm especially keen to do full-on federalism on things where there's just like tremendous controversy and a lot of like unsettled science and those kinds of things.
Maybe you could say federalism is the AC of our Constitution.
Oh, right.
It lowers the temperature because people can have their own. They can set their own. Set
your
dials.
own temperature.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. Mm-hmm. I like thinking of it that way. So anyway, some good stuff from the court. Very interesting. Yeah, a lot of fury, though, from people in the right. Actually, there was fury in both directions because then
it was too close.
Idiotic Dem commentary was like, it was 5-4. We came one vote away from losing the most fundamental blah, 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 and so. And I'm like, okay, but you didn't read it that closely because actually on the situation that applies to like 95% of the people we're talking about, like every justice but one seemed to indicate that would be something still to be protected.
They were either in favor of the liberal position or at least ambiguous on it, right?
So you didn't read, that just tells me you didn't read it.
Yeah, that's so funny. Is like Thomas, in his huge dissent, he addresses the illegal immigrant question in a footnote, like 60 pages in, and he equivocates in the footnote.
Yeah.
It's to bash on the right-wingers a little more. I should say this was a real separating the men from the boys, the wheat from the chaff here.
Yes.
There's like lots of conservative, smart legal commenters who
had good, rational response. Eric Erickson had a good response that I read. And
Dan McLaughlin,
National Review people saying where even if you disagreed with it, this is the argument for it, and
this is reasonable, whatever. Right. And then there's the people whose brains have been melted.
Sean Davis,
who suggested
stupidest person.
Yeah.
He's like an active threat to our intelligence.
Yes,
I
would
all
agree
times.
with that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, he still gets birthright citizenship too, you know? But yeah, he suggested that we, prophylactically sterilize all foreign visitors to prevent them from claiming, birthright citizenship. Another idea passed around that I really liked was, okay, now we just have to give diplomatic immunity to every Chinese woman coming into the country.
Man, you're going to have a lot of car crashes if you do that.
Okay. Oh, boy. Don't endorse that joke.
It's a Family Guy joke. I'm just quoting Family Guy. We're like, well, what if they're not pregnant yet, but they travel with like a bunch of like semen they inserted into them when they get. Think of the ways they'll try to get around this.
Yeah.
Oh.
So not the right was not necessarily covering themselves in glory here. It's just so funny too.
Some people are just like, we don't have a country anymore. We should give up.
It's over.
I should kill myself.
Curtis Yarvin tweeted, I guess the Constitution is a suicide pact.
A lot of KMS.
Yeah, it's just remarkable too, because it's like this is what conservatives, right-wingers always criticize the left for, is there's a pretty straightforward interpretation of the Constitution. You might like it, you might not, but they ruled, and they're not there to give you, the court is not there to give you your policy.
The court just opened the door to unlimited spending on elections. We don't even have a democracy anymore.
Right. This is like what you hear from the left.
Constant hyperventilating.
Yeah, and now the right is doing it too.
Now it's their turn.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of people showed themselves to be no better.
Yeah.
No better than the other side. Mm-hmm. Just the hyperventilate. You know what? Twitter is just people like talking to their therapist. Mm-hmm. Like this, just save this shit for your therapist. Like how upset you are all the time.
Back in the days of yore, there was a good tweet where it was like, Twitter is just depressed people shouting at each other.
Yeah. That's exactly what it is.
So here we are. Yeah.
They actually did an experiment, I guess, where they totally hid the top 3% of most viral or accounts for like a week or something. Nikita Bayer admitted he did this and was like, the experience was way better. They were like, overall engagement went up when they just nuked the top 3% of people, because the top 3% people are just all like breaking.
Yeah.
Some video clip from someone else I stole.
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Breaking emotional manipulation. Yeah. Clavicular updates for some reason.
Right.
I don't want them. Stop forcing them on me. I
Porn,
don't care.
Racism. Yeah. And my For You tab is even worse. I've made that change before.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah, we gotta, we just gotta kind of pull back on the Musk revolution of Twitter. When he came in, I was like, okay, it'll be good to have a little less moderation, a little less random, accounts just getting, suspended for random reasons. That would be good. But then he brought in the, paying people to post, which has created some disastrous incentives, and the deprioritization of outside links as well. I understand why someone who...
They say they brought that back, but...
It doesn't seem like it.
I don't know. I think they might have brought it back. Just recently.
Okay. Well, maybe I
Elon Musk himself, I would like to get that man a hobby that is not Twitter.
Yeah.
What can I say?
Yeah.
I like the guy. I worry about his mental
state,
health, and some of the things he retweets and shares are a little
racist.
It's not.
Yeah, he's constantly bamboozled by right-wing fake news from Europe.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
theoretically, he should have hobbies. We
all need some good hobbies.
Yeah. What would you describe as your hobbies?
What is my hobby? I play a lot of games. Games are my hobby.
Okay.
I play a lot of Dominion. I've talked about and Agricola and Dungeons and Dragons and fantasy worlds things. I go to the gym pretty regularly. So
fitness, it's a
hobby.
Hobbies. Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Very good.
I like some TV, some movies. What are your hobbies?
Lifting weights would be one.
Vigilantism.
Yep, right. That's why I wear the mask. Come on, buddy. Yeah. Well, if you ask me to save you, I'll definitely say no now. Little Rorschach joke. I read. I write fiction. We talked about that. Would be another hobby we both share. Yeah. That's about stuff. It, though. Yeah.
No, like yo-yoing or.
No yo-yoing. I don't.
Juggling.
I don't play an instrument. I can't juggle.
Yeah. No clown stuff.
The only thing I juggle is the demands of modern life. So,
no miming.
No miming.
Hobbies should be clown-based, really.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh.
You're in a box now. I put you in a box. Yep. Ha! Gotcha. And I'm gonna pump that carbon monoxide in there. No, die.
Yeah. Oh, right.
Die. Yeah, silently. You're miming. Better.
There we go.
Much
okay,
better.
well,
that's what I like.
It's tough. Miming. There's a real learning curve, right?
Is this episode is going to get so demonetized for what we just did?
For miming?
For
you wouldn't dare, you two.
For self-harm.
Oh yeah, sure. Don't say schmelf.
No, I think you can say. Well, we shouldn't even get into what you can't say.
Okay.
What else is on the list?
Yeah, what do we got here?
You put some stupid things on here. War and Peace, you finished?
Yes. So I went on a vacation to sunny Cabo in Mexico.
That's where you've been. You've been gone.
Yep. As you can see, I'm nice and sunburned. And I decided I don't tan. Swiss jeans. You know? One of the few downsides of being Swiss. Although I did notice in the Birthright Citizenship case, Thomas listed some examples of Swissmen being denied birthright citizenship. So part of a long legacy of discrimination against my people, which this nation has not really accounted for. Yeah. But let's not dwell on that. Yes, so I went with my family to just a resort in Cabo, and I told myself, what is a better beach read than War and Peace, a long, torturous novel about the Russian experience of being invaded by Napoleon. I had started this, because I've talked about it on the show. I started it end of last year, early this year. I got like halfway through, stopped reading it for a long time, and I was just like, I will never, ever finish this book if I don't just like knock it out. And so I brought it with me, and I read like 500 pages in 2.5 days. And it was great. It's excellent. If you have a few months of your life to spare to this book, I would really recommend it. There is, it's an interesting book because towards the end, it increasingly becomes like a historiographical argument. Like there's the chapters with the characters, and then interspersed is just essays from Tolstoy arguing against like great man theory. Like, yeah, you say Napoleon is driving force of history, but really it's all the people behind him, the people below.
Is that really
elevated
is
him.
that like the agenda of the book, is to tear down Napoleon?
Yeah, it's actually interesting. So I think that's part of it. It's basically to criticize. He's taking a lot of swipes at the history of the time, both the kind of great man theory and then also like the impersonal forces of history theory. He has almost more of like a Russian spiritual vision of history, where it's like the driving forces are, the conflicts in the human hearts that drive us all, right? But it's interesting because like the more and more you read these essays in the book, the more you kind of see the actual novel and plot and characters as like part of the historical argument, right? Because he's like, why did Napoleon lose this battle when he used the same tactics as before? Well, it's because the Russians were, willing to fight and die in this particular instance, right? It's like, oh, okay, so that's why we had 1,000 pages of these characters like love struggles and,
just so
difficult relationships with their fathers, because like you are making a historical argument about why in that moment they were the better soldiers, right? Which I found interesting. I mean, it's an interesting way to do a book. In fact, Tolstoy did not describe War and Peace as a novel because he was making these historical arguments in it. The other thing that I found interesting about it is there's almost like a fourth wall breaking at one point where, spoiler alert, the French, they burn Moscow to the ground and then they leave. And they're retreating back to France. And he's talking about how the French soldiers, they're trying to get back to France, but that's such a long, impossible goal that the only thing they can do to keep themselves moving is, okay, we're going to get to Smolensk. We're going to get to the next village. We're just one more day of marching. That's what I have to focus on, because the final goal here is so out of reach, so impossible. And I'm like, is this about the fucking book? Is this about War and Peace? This thing that, like, if I were looking at the final page count. Yeah, exactly. Right. It is also frustrating because you get through 1,000 pages and then it's like epilogue, appendix. It's like,
you can't just finish it. Yeah. Just let it go.
Yeah, but no, it is a beautiful book. I teared up when some of the characters died. I punched the air with excitement when, two of the characters got married.
I love that.
So I would recommend it to our minority of viewers out there who can in fact read. So
we have the most literate viewers.
No, we do.
I bet of any major podcast. We're up there.
It's exploding.
It's exploding
in views, notoriety.
Yes,
that's why I had.
They're stopping you on the street. You had to lay low for a little while.
That's why I went all the way down to Mexico. Yeah,
It's not helping your drug problem, your eating disorder, etc.
No, those are all getting worse.
Pressure to look good for the cameras. And, little.
Keep me up. Yeah, that's how you get this witty banter.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, use some performance-enhancing drugs. Yeah. I got to remember my lines.
You also wanted to talk about the show 30 Rock?
Oh, yes.
That's
okay,
great.
This is
30 Rock is underrated.
It is.
It is the best comedy of that era.
So
it's the one that's
funny.
That's stood the test of time.
I'm more of a Community fan. But both are
Community
excellent.
Is uneven, but it is good.
Yeah, I mean, it's because it's more experimental, I guess, more inventive. So they take more risks, some of which work and some
30
of which
Rock
don't.
is the laughs to seconds ratio is so high.
It's endless, right? And I feel like that's why it benefits from a rewatch.
Yes.
Is because like you can't absorb every single joke.
Right.
But
it's dense in terms of its joke layer.
And you just you don't see him coming, right? You don't see him coming.
It's also kind of experimental and absurdist too. Like some of the cutaway jokes are just crazy. Mm-hmm. I often speak of the whole the later plotline of Jenna and her boyfriend, who is a Jenna Maroney impersonator, played by the hilarious guy Will Forte, and they're in the live episode. He swoops down doing Zooby Zooby Zoo from Mad Men, which was popular at the time. This is like, the references here are just like absurd.
Yeah.
And
well, it's enjoyable too because the references are because it's written by news addicted liberals in New York. Yeah. It's all very like kind of our world too, right? Yeah. News and media and politics. Although now watching it now, it's like a little time capsule-y too, right? Because like the first seasons are like the Democratic primary in 2007 and 2008.
Right.
Like Liz has some line to like Tracy Jordan's wife where she's like, that's why we have to support Obama. And she's like, I'm a Kucinich fan. There's like a joke in the last episode I watched about, this is a tough year for you, Jack. William F. Buckley died and now this. This has nothing to do with anything, but the best joke in the series that I've come across in my rewatch is, have you seen the episode? It's the first introduction of Steve Buscemi as the, hey, fellow kids, private investigator. But, he's doing, like, Oppo research on Jack, who's up for, Jack Donaghy, played by Alec Baldwin, who's up for the CEO chairmanship, whatever, of GE. And so he's like, looking to his background to see if there's any skeletons in his closet. And he discovers he's an avid cookie jar collector. And so then this comes up later with Tina Fey's character, Liz Lemon. And Lemon is like, cookie jars, that must be some resolved issues from childhood. And Jackie's like, no, because we didn't have cookie jars in my house because my mother never baked cookies because she thought we didn't deserve them. So obviously it has nothing to do with my childhood.
I love the recurring gag that Kenneth worships a deity. It's Jacob, the god from Lost, and he will randomly. And again, if you didn't watch, Lost was a big show at the time, but now it's funny now. Like if you just didn't know what Lost is, and if you didn't get all the way into Lost, where Jacob of this otherworldly magic figure on the island appears, it would make no sense, but Kenneth will just be like, I need more time, Jacob, out of nowhere several times. Leave them to me. Their fates are not yet written, Jacob, please. I so love it.
So good. The other thing that's really interesting about watching it is it is a good like fossilization
of that period of time.
But also like pre-woke liberalism. It is a great way to bookend the wokery of the 2010s.
100%.
Right? Because the show's humor is pretty transgressive.
Yes.
There are constant jokes about, not in a racist way, but certainly jokes about race and gender and sexuality.
The Tracy Morgan's character makes.
Yes, right. Or Liz too, right? Yeah. It's constant.
Right. They do it about a wide enough swath of people and in an intelligent enough way that it's not offensive to any specific person.
It's clever. There's not cheap shots, and it's not done with malice, right? And so it's
done with love.
It's done with love. So it succeeds.
The way racism should be.
Right. And the characters are like, because so many of the characters are like New York City libs, but particularly Tina Fey's character, right? Like they're frequently like making fun of their racial hangups, right? Like when she assumes that the Tracy Morgan character like can't read, right? And she's like patronizing him. It's so funny. But okay, let me throw this idea at you. This might be a stale take.
Toss it at me.
30 Rock, crypto conservative show.
Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah.
Yes.
A little bit like Girls in that way, the Lena Dunham show of that same era. That was so self-critical. You would never imagine that Lena Dunham, who at least at the time was almost like a caricature of, this is, again, pre-woke era, but caricature of a progressive liberal sentimentality in her public behavior and pronouncements, makes this show that skewers millennial feminism and liberal progressivism, like exposes it as hollow and meaningless and bereft and actually, not to spoil the show, but like her learning that her character's calling is like to be a mother and to resonate with her child. That's the final scene of the show. Is that she finally she gets knocked up, she has a baby, and at first like she doesn't relate to the baby, doesn't want to breastfeed from her, and then that it does happen, and that is like that's the climax of the show. And that's a pretty conservative message.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's very similar with 30 Rock, where so much of the humor derives from Liz Lemon's life being as a childless career woman with a lot of neuroses and regrets about this very fact. Like, that's kind of the butt of the joke a lot, right? And Jack Donaghy, who is himself, of course, a parody and comes in for plenty of barbs as the, business elite conservative titan, is usually the voice of
reason.
Yeah, the voice. Yeah.
It's the polar opposite of a similar show from the time period, the twin show, Parks and Recreation.
Mm-hmm.
Parks and Recreation, while seeming to give lip service to a libertarian worldview because it has one of the most famously well-known to be libertarian characters of all, Ron Swanson, and gives him some opportunities to shine, the worldview of the show is to grind him down into nothing, to destroy him, and that is seen as good. The view of it is a saccharine kind of liberalism that, your concerns about individual freedom or your property or whatever it is, well, you don't really know better, but
those are just kind of
we're the
that you
state
have.
that we're going to help move you through that for the good of the community and the good of this department. And Leslie Knope is always proved to be right. Her fault is she's a little too eager and a little too sincere, but she's trying to do the right thing, and that's what people in government are like. That's the ideology of the show. And it gets more oppressive as it goes on. It's the exact opposite, where it's more liberal than it seems for having a very major libertarian character.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, there's I think it's the final episode of season 2 or 3 in Parks and Rec, where the whole plot of the show is they bring in these budget cutters, right? Who are trying to set the town's fiscal situation to right, whereas her goal is to have this big fair, right? And she has a little bit of a monologue to what's the one guy's Adam Scott, right? Is that his name? Yeah. Where she's like, the fair is a success. She's like, see, this is what government is about, not cuts, providing services to people, and that is the message of the show, right? It's a very liberal show, and that's why ultimately, Ron Swanson is kind of fun, and it's nice to see a little representation for libertarians, but also
but it's actively harmful.
it's actively harmful. We are the butt of that joke.
Yes. Which is fine. I'm not saying
sure, of course.
I laughed at the show. I watched a lot of it. It's funny. It's fine for something I don't agree with to exist.
But Jack Donaghy is presented at first as a parody, but then actually you do kind of
1,000%.
You love him, and he's also just the funniest.
Where do we slot The Office in this paradigm and the other big comedy of that era? The Office isn't, I don't think, really trying to say something so political, or obviously it deals with political things.
Yeah, there's no.
I think it's a very strong and funny show, and deservedly
particularly
celebrated.
the first 3 seasons. It kind of goes off the rails after that.
A little bit,
no, it doesn't really have a particular political message. What's interesting watching The Office later as an adult is just how your view of some of the main characters is changed by your experience. When you watch it as I watched it as a teenager, right?
Yeah.
And you kind of buy the surface level presentation of Jim as the cool, funny guy, right? But then you watch it later as an adult, and you're like, this guy is pathetic.
Yeah.
Right? He has
always picking on Dwight.
Yeah, so he's kind of a bully.
Yes.
Right? And also he has zero ambition, and the only reason he stays in this job that he hates is because he's in love with a woman who is engaged to another man, right? Yeah. That's just kind of sad, right? Yeah, The Office, I honestly
hate Andy. I hate Andy almost more than I've ever hated any character in anything.
That's funny.
My hatred of him is off the charts. I can't even rationally explain it. I like that actor fine in a lot of other things. I'm not even saying that I don't like that the character exists. I'm the character causes me a visceral hatred. It's almost impressive that they made a character. I feel the way about this character people would feel the way about Joffrey or Ramsay or something.
Oh, wow.
I hate him. I want to watch him not unalive. YouTube terminology there.
No, I don't feel that visceral disgust. Although obviously he is kind of a foil and an antagonist.
Well, let's do the last one in this list, Arrested Development. That's the other. These are the comedies of that era.
Yeah.
Arrested Development is the more on paper. It was kind of the best liked at the time, or not absolutely at the time, but immediately after. It was at first it was underappreciated, and then it got overappreciated, and then developed a whole cult status,
which you think is undeserved.
It's hard to say it's undeserved. It is very good.
Yes.
The sequel things they attempted were so bad that it's almost dragged down the appreciation for the original 3 seasons, which are very strong. No, I think it's a very good show, very funny show, very watchable, very rewatchable. Also very much a product of its era.
Yes.
As it's a lot of Bush era humor, jokes about Bush.
About Bush era foreign policy, and then also Great Recession jokes as well, because it's the family's business is like real estate development, and it's in the middle of the recession, so they've lost all their money, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's very funny. It's weird. Funny. And it has a little bit of heart in it too that I appreciate. Like they're all really kooky, but they're a kind of family. It's good. It's a great show.
Yeah, that's an interesting point.
It makes you feel warm about it.
I might disagree a little bit in that. I mean, there is a little bit of like they're a dysfunctional family, but clearly they want to. They still have some love for each other, but at the same time, like the plot lines are all just kind of like. Trying to flesh out these people's like flaws, and like every character is the butt of the joke. You know what I mean? Even with maybe the exception of Jason Bateman's character,
Michael.
Who's a little more serious.
Yeah.
And I mean that's part of the humor is he's like the one serious character. Amongst all these clowns. Yeah. It's interesting because like on the surface that one is actually the most political, but I don't really know if it has a particular political or social message really. Right.
I would say it makes fun of the right.
Yeah.
Kind of consistently, mostly in one direction, which, is fine. It does take cheap shots.
Yeah.
I would say a lot at Iraq War type things.
Yeah, sure.
Which, maybe that's deserved, whatever.
Yeah. I mean, I think part of it was like, that was just like a pretty dark time for like the Great Recession, right? And so there was even though the show was kind of about those issues or at least dealt with them, it's just absurdist and silly because people didn't really have the appetite for a searching examination of recession era America. Right?
Did you watch the sequel seasons at all, any of that?
I watched a little bit of the 4th season.
Right. So there's a 4th, and a 5th and a 6th, or 4th and a 5th at least.
Yeah.
They are really bad, huge creative failures in interesting ways, particularly the 4th season. The 4th season is a very interesting case because they actually tried to do something kind of unique that just did not work at all. So I guess it was actually because not all the cast members were available at the same time. So if you remember, the 4th season is almost like has like a centric episode for each person. Like all the characters do not appear in every episode, which was the first problem because the strength of the original seasons was very quick, fast move. All the characters are in every episode, constantly interacting with each other. Their interactions with each other are the heart of the show. And this was like, okay, this is a Job episode where we mostly see Job interacting with Job universe characters, and then occasionally he's going to run into someone from the show, and it was not funny when done like that, but also it was incredible. The plot,
because it's an ensemble show,
right? It's an ensemble show, so they messed up. The plot was incredibly complicated, like Charlie Kaufman level complication with. You would often see something happen, and the most brilliant idea they have is because it also takes place over an incredibly long period of time, because it's like everything that's happened to these people in the 10 years since Arrested Development was last on. And there's this, I guess, going away party for George Michael. He's going to college that they have at the Lucille's penthouse. And like the first time you see it, it looks like he's the only one there. But then they show a flashback to this in like every episode where it shows, oh, actually like Tobias was behind the couch the whole time. And like they actually all were there. So there's a lot of what you have to like go back and remember, oh wait, but Michael had just seen Job. So when he said that, like it's very, it's like,
Agatha
it's
Christie,
giving Westworld season 2 levels of contrivance about who's where. it does not work. So like it's a fail, and it's very Agatha Christie because it's revealed that basically the other Lucille, the one played by what's her face, she's sometimes Buster's girlfriend, the other old lady.
Okay, yeah.
She's dead. She was murdered, and one of them did it. Oh. But you don't even realize that until the end of the season that, that's what they were building to. Like that each of them has a grievance with her for some reason, and they didn't show you who killed her. Very weird, but it was so weird that they then recut the entire season into 20 episodes, totally where it was more like the first 3 seasons, where they rearranged everything so they'd all mix together. But the problem there is then they needed Ron Howard's narration to explain, to like fill in all the gaps. Like they had him come in and re-record all his narration. So then it's just Ron Howard talking to you forever, and it's actually worse. So long way of saying, it's kind of incredible how badly they bungled it for the later seasons.
Dang.
Weird stuff.
Yeah, I guess.
If you've watched them in the comments, tell me how you feel about it. That's my take.
Yeah.
Like spectacular failure.
So I like Arrested Development. It's similar humor to 30 Rock, where it's a lot of verbal puns and repetitive jokes, and cutaways and whatever else. I guess why I like 30 Rock better is like the characters. This is my problem with the Succession as well, right? There's something I just like feels kind of mean-spirited and annoying about watching a show where everyone is incompetent, right? 30 Rock, everyone has their foibles, but like they are successful
They're
people
making a television show.
and who are kind of redeemed, right? Through their base competence, right?
Yes.
Whereas Arrested Development is about how everyone's an idiot.
Yes.
And at a certain point, I find that a little tiresome and maybe even, dare I say, a little nihilistic sometimes. And that way, it's funny, but a little less of a comedy, in which a comedy, in the technical sense, requires the plot to have the characters redeemed in some sort of like socially positive way. So
there is a funny joke in the later seasons where Michael he goes to like a family self-defense class where everyone else there is how you and your family could learn to defend yourself against a home intruder, but he's thinking of it as how would you defend yourself against your family.
That's pretty good. I think I only watched like an episode or 2 of the 4th season. There was one pretty good joke where recession era, Michael has to move in with his son in his dorm room.
Yes.
And then his roommate is living with his grandfather. And Michael says to his son, he's like, can you imagine living with your grandfather? I think I'd kill myself.
It's the first episode is kind of funny because it's all about the focus in that episode is just Michael and George Michael, and Michael's living with George Michael in his dorm, and he gets voted out of the dorm through his own he's confused as to why they would he thinks they're all going to vote out the other dorm member, but it's clear they're going to vote him out, and even when all the votes are Michael, he keeps reading more votes. And then he goes to the airport. Now I'm making it sound like it's good. He goes to the airport with his luggage, because they all packed their luggage in case they had to leave, but he didn't pack anything in his luggage because he was so confident of winning the vote. So TSA is confused that there's nothing in his luggage, and he goes, "Okay, I was voted out of a 4-person blind." And they said, "Well, that's on you." Enough.
That's great. Okay.
Enough.
All right.
Good stuff. What else?
Do you have any other political
I'm sure we got
topics?
something else on here
to talk about?
Well, Matt Yglesias, who we were praising earlier, and I have had a lot of praise for recently because I read his Substack and I just agree with basically everything he said. He pulled off something no one has ever pulled off before, ever, in human history with any other person. Oh. He wrote an article about Israel-Palestine, and I agreed with every single thing he had said in it.
Wow.
Nobody's ever said something about Israel where you can just get another person to fully endorse it. Yeah. It's an impossible task. Yeah, trust me.
Just read the Old Testament.
But he was complaining that no one wants to do anything about the debt.
Yeah. Okay. So this is
fill us in on why that's a little hypocritical.
Yes, it is hypocritical because Matt Yglesias, like everyone on the left, since we're talking about. We're done relitigating COVID. Now we're back to relitigating the Great Recession.
Excellent.
Right? Okay, so if you remember, there was the Great Recession. Obama is elected, comes in, wants to spend a bunch of money, and then the Tea Party is elected as a response to this. And this was our libertarian moment where debt and deficits was the primary issue.
It was just a moment.
Yes, it was just a moment, a fleeting, beautiful moment.
Just a moment. Just a pure...
It's like smoke. I can't hold it.
You can't hold it.
Yes, but anyway,
in our hearts,
not to get too wistful, but the conservative libertarian argument was, look, the reason we had this recession is because of profligate government. Now is the time, or one of the reasons, now is the time to cut back, reduce the state. And we need to do this now because we are going to go over the cliff with all these entitlements here in a couple decades, right? The liberal consensus from the far left of the time to the center left of the time was no, spend money now. Don't worry about deficits. We're in a recession. We can cut later, maybe. Who will see? Interest rates are low. It's a smart time to spend. And, whatever the fiscal issues, either you would say we can deal with those later. And sometimes Matthew Yglesias would make that point, or he would make another point, which is that the only reason Republicans say they care about debt and deficits is because they really just
program off the cliff.
Yes, exactly. They just want to cut funding for poor people's health care, and this is all a fake panic, and it must be resisted.
Yes.
Now, he is a deficit hawk. He has written things about how we really can't spend more money. Even like moderate Democratic proposals to spend money are irresponsible, that the deficit is a serious issue, that it needs being addressed now, and no one takes it seriously. Why? It's because people listen to you, Matt. It's because you convinced them that the deficit was not a big deal, right? And so here we are. Yeah, it is actually remarkable how the salience of... So he convinced the left. The left is totally, there's no fiscal hawks on the left really anymore, right? And then the right also, because of Trump, I guess, there's not really any fiscal hawks there either.
No, God, no.
Yeah. So no one cares about debt or deficits anymore. It's just one of those problems that's like, oh, we didn't fix the debt and nothing bad has happened, right? Seems fine. But now it is a serious issue. We're like really bumping up against... If you spend more money, interest rates shoot up, and that's bad for growth, right? We're getting closer and closer to the date that has not changed about how entitlements are going to, with Social Security, automatic cuts. So in a way that kind of fixes itself, although politically it will be disastrous. And then also with Medicare and Medicaid too, those are also continuing to explode in cost, and very serious issues coming down the pike. And the longer you don't address it, it'll be more traumatic, the changes that you do make. And not only will it be more traumatic, it is much more likely that in order to avoid that trauma, we do a bunch of insane bullshit, right? Yeah. Like print a bunch of money, do price controls, whatever else, right?
And that's where we're headed. Not to blackpill everyone listening to this, but yeah, Republicans exercise no discipline on this whatsoever, don't care at all. Trump doesn't care about this at all. Mm-hmm. Not been a priority. I didn't expect it to be. No. These people have lied about what they would do so many times. It's easy to want to cut government spending when you have no real power. When you get power, they never do it. Mm-hmm. So that's obvious. But on the Democratic side, they're, with this empowerment of literal socialists, they're moving in a direction that we're not spending enough. Like, they're all saying that. Like, listen to this Daria Lisa Avila Chevalier, just got likely to be sent to the House, won the primary, saying that the problem is, we don't spend enough on healthcare. We don't spend enough on education. We spend so much on wars overseas. And I'm like, okay, defense budget is big. I would be in favor of cutting it, but we spend trillions of dollars on healthcare and education and all the safety welfare programs you want. Your city, New York, she was talking specifically about why can't we educate our kids and if we have money for bombs? Your city spends more on education for children than any other municipality in the entire country. Per pupil spending in New York City is $40,000. They spend $40,000 a year on every kid. There's no other jurisdiction in the entire country that spends that much. So if you don't like the education outcomes you're getting, you have to ask, why can't we do it with more money than anyone else ever has? Yeah. It doesn't make any sense. That with that amount of money, you could get a good private education for most kids. Yeah. That's a tuition at the University of Michigan. Right. It's the same as what they're spending on first graders. Yeah. But that's the actual mentality of the left, of the people who are winning here, is that we're not actually we're spending all this money on just the war state, which we are spending a lot of money on, and I'd cut it. But it's healthcare costs, it's Medicare, it's this massive. So whatever is going wrong, it's not a lack of money. If people don't like the healthcare system, they don't like it, it's producing non-suboptimal outcomes. You got to look at aspects of this. Somebody's getting a lot of money then who's inefficiently, and it's not actually for healthcare because it's not about the amount of money we're spending.
Yeah,
you can't say it's that.
This is the worrisome aspect of. I mean, I think Medicare is the real problem.
Medicare is the villain.
Yeah, and you
threaten to take it away. You threaten to do anything to it. You get a barrage of votes against you.
Yeah, the problem with Medicare too. So it's like Social Security or even the military or something like that is like it's actually a pretty straightforward thing of how to fix, which is you're spending too much money.
You spend less.
You should spend less money.
Right.
And you can just cut the benefits or do some other changes, right? Medicare is a problem because the more money you spend, this is going to sound trivial, but I think there's a deeper point here. The more money you spend, the more it costs. The more pressure you put on costs to increase, right? And so
the cost inflation.
Yes, exactly. Medicare, it creates all sorts of incentives for prices to go up and up and up, right? And so it then creates one of these bad problems where in order to address, no one has faith that if we're going to reduce the cost pressure, you have to reduce the spending. But then the argument against it is, no, because if you reduce the benefits people get, then there's going to be this gap between what the prices are now and what you're getting now, right? No one believes that you can actually put downward pressure on costs while still getting good service by fixing the system. And we're just going to go over the cliff with it, right?
We can't exercise any market-based control over the price because there's just no mechanism to do so because people don't shop. There is not really a mechanism to shop for medical care, right? You can maybe shop for your insurance plan, maybe if you're just buying one on the open market. If you're healthcare-based or employer-based, you can't even do that. But you don't really shop for, well, this doctor is going to fix my ankle for this much money, and this one's going to do it for this much money, and I'm going to go with that one because I need to save money. Or I'm going to go with that one because I'm wealthier, so I should go to that one. That's not how it works.
No.
And it's very broken for that reason.
Now, our friend and colleague Jacob has really red-pilled me on this issue, but it's even worse, right? Because it's like Medicare covers so many people that, and Medicare rates, this has changed a bit with the Inflation Reduction Act, but because it covers so many people and Medicare prices are for so many things are set by what the private market charges, private providers have basically figured out if I overcharge people in this private market where prices are kind of real, then I can just jack up the compensation I get from the government where prices are not real at all, right? And so everyone is getting higher prices and the pressure is always to increase prices. There was a good proposal to fix this by a man named Paul Ryan who suggested we just give people vouchers for Medicare and that will reduce the cost growth over time and inject a little more market mechanisms, a little more efficiency. And folks like Matt Yglesias said you're throwing grandma over the cliff.
Yeah. They said you're a murderer.
Yeah. Yeah.
We didn't deserve him.
No.
What a sweet, wonderful man.
Yeah, I mean, he sold out too eventually. But I mean, I have a little sympathy for him too, where he just kind of realized okay, no one gives a shit about this. Yeah. It was a political disaster.
It was political disaster, right? Because you get senior citizens lining up against you. They don't want any changes to their Medicare Advantage plans.
Yeah, right. This is the other problem too, right? It's like
I told Marjorie Taylor Greene about this, by the way. I interviewed her the other day. I introduced her. Let it be known that I was the person that introduced her to the concept of total boomer luxury communism.
Okay, very good, very good. If only she were still in Congress.
Oh,
well, I don't know, but
and she told me that's enough vaccine shots for you. I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
Lovely chat.
Yeah. I mean, it's also a problem too, because if insurance was functioning, right? If I bought insurance from a company and they knew they were going to be paying for my healthcare through, the end of time, right? Until I died, they would have all sorts of incentives to, incentivize me to be healthier, but also to reduce the costs of the services that they're providing, right? Not in a way where it's like I'm cutting benefits necessarily, but okay, let's figure out what services are actually effective for keeping you alive and healthy and what are not. But because once someone becomes expensive, they immediately get shifted to the government plan where everything is it's an entitlement, everything is covered, then there's no incentive for that cost control either. So, yeah.
Also, insurance programs are just scams in general. I don't like insurance-derived things.
Disagree completely.
Do you?
But yeah, insurance. This is our
dealing with some. I'm fixing my car right now. Going through the car insurance company.
Insurance is frustrating.
It is a pain.
Insurance is frustrating and bureaucratic, but it is our solution to state regulation and government benefits. Okay. So this is the libertarian anarchist solution to many, many regulations and state involvement.
Okay. If you say so.
Yes. But, what can we do?
What can we do?
It's interesting. Both fiscal issues and climate change are kind of receding as like dominant issues of the day, right? And I think it's just because our politics, two reasons. One is like people harp about this stuff for a long time and then nothing bad seems to happen, and so people lose interest.
Right. It seems like the predictions of doom don't come true.
Right. And then secondly, I think our politics has just gotten so much dumber that stupider, and so
stupider people are participating in it more and lowering the average. Yeah. And then smarter people have to sound stupider.
Yes, in order to get any sort of notoriety,
right,
or attention. And so we just don't have the attention span to talk about long-term issues. Like the one possible exception would be like AI doomerism stuff.
Yeah.
But there's no real grappling with what is the policy impact going to be 10 years from now, 20 years from now. I've been thinking about that in the context of the New York rent freeze that just passed, right? Rent stabilized housing in New York is already going bankrupt, but in like 20 years, 30 years, it's going to be a complete disaster. Half these buildings are going to be falling down.
Long time off, though.
Long time off. Yeah. So, and I'm not a climate hawk at all. I'm just saying like that is an example of a long-term issue that people can't care about.
Right. There's an example of something that people inflated the predictions of experts at the Times, which were taken very seriously by mainstream media about the level of, all islands underwater, unlivable, and blah blah, and didn't come true.
Yeah. I think the libs are generally wrong about their big predictions, but I guess I'm being nostalgic for at least they cared about the future.
Well, I've been, then you get guilted over your air conditioning, though. So at least, which they're doing anyway.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. The consequences of the fiscal problem are, they're felt just like they're not obviously right in the devaluation of the currency and so on, the
higher interest rates,
inflation. So, you feel it in the air, but it's not this sudden dramatic collapse, or maybe one day it will be.
No, eventually when we literally can't afford the benefits that we're paying for,
money.
Then we will print money, and then we'll, that was a nice developed country you had, back to Argentina. Yeah.
And we'll move to Argentina to escape it because Argentina's competently run,
right?
Which is nice.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, J.D. Vance is saying, "I'm going to write about this." I was just listening to an interview with him about overthrowing Milton Friedman and how this is no longer the god of the right.
Good job.
Thanks a lot, man.
Man, that fucking guy.
I do not like him at all.
He's a real prick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he's gloating. He's like, this is not. That was nice for the 1980s, the time of unparalleled prosperity and actually and also success for your party.
Yeah.
If you want to talk about all-time winners,
let's get rid
Ronald
of that.
Reagan won 49 states, motherfucker.
Yeah.
And you want to overthrow the philosophical guru of that movement and time period in favor of socialism. Actually, it's just socialism is what he's endorsing. But
you know what that smug
we don't like him, guys. We don't like him.
You know what who he reminds me of is I remember watching a documentary once about people who were like sincere believers in the 2012 apocalypse, right?
Yes.
This was the idea that the Mayan calendar stopped in 2012, and so the world is going to end in 2012. And they interviewed these people who had taken out rented a bunch of furniture or took out a bunch of high interest loans where the interest payments don't start until after 2012, and they were just so smug about how they had beat the system. And it's like, you are an idiot. This is all going to come collapsing down on you like a ton of bricks, and it's going to be a disaster, and your hubris is what had led you here. And that's what I see in J.D. Vance being like, markets? Yeah. Idiot.
Yes.
Well, he's not an idiot. He should know better.
He should know better. Maybe he does know better.
But
he know. I mean, in Hillbilly Elegy, he clearly knows better.
Yeah.
Hillbilly Elegy, I have said this many times, I thought was a great book about problems in the community he's from, but he never blames it on these, big force. He has people take self-responsibility. But now it's, the globalists did this to you, the markets did this to you. Mm-hmm. He knows better. He just, he thinks it's not a winning political message, even though it actually has, in the time period he's referencing, it was a hugely politically winning message.
Yeah. And this is why I have a certain level of contempt for him beyond other people who are just like jumping on the bandwagon. Right. It's like, if you ever know someone who once agreed with you and then has this like ideological conversion, it's like there's no point in arguing with you because you used to agree. Right. You've heard all these arguments. You used to accept them. Now you reject them for whatever reason. Right. There's no reaching you because you've made your decision. Right. You know what I mean? Sohrab Ahmari, who I actually kind of like, is similar to this. If you go back and read his stuff from like 2017 or 2018, like he was a like small government classical liberal guy, and then he became vitriolic NatCon and is now kind of moved to nice social democracy, I guess. He's always on a journey.
I mean, he's moved so many times that he could move back. I don't know.
Again, it's like, well, why would I argue with you? Because you're just going to change your views.
I just did I really enjoy talking to him in real life.
Yeah, I think he's a nice guy.
I did an debate with him for
it's an argument of a type.
An argument of a type for the Intercollegiate Studies Institute on is oligarchy the right framing for the times we're living in. I thought it was a really great conversation we had. It's not out yet, but people should definitely check it out when it is out. I think it was and I sound like I'm bragging or something. I think it was a high-level exploration of our market-friendly, classical, liberal, libertarian economic outlook and his left-adjacent, labor-friendly outlook.
Okay.
So I'm looking forward to that being out.
Cool. If I can say one more thing about the Matt Yglesias of the world, then we can move on.
Go off, King.
Okay. Thank you, sir. No kinks. It's just there's something it's always bad form, I think, in politics to yell at people who all of a sudden agree with you, right? Mm-hmm. If someone's on your side, that's good.
I agree with that.
You won.
I agree with that.
Don't spend even though we just did this, don't spend all your time pointing out their hypocrisy and their past
No, we're doing
sins.
That to people who, you mean Matt Yglesias.
Yeah. Welcome them into the tent. We're all friends now. Yes. This is good. We're all on the side
Politically,
of right.
That's correct.
Yes. Nevertheless, it is incredibly frustrating when people have their come to Jesus moment and then don't acknowledge their past sins. You know what I mean? They're just like, whoa, this is a problem. How did we get here? It's like...
Reason was right about this, and I should have paid more attention to them, and I'll be paying more attention to them in the future.
It is similar to, I guess, in the service of not causing too many intra-movement splits. I won't name names, but there are certain people I could name who used to be the biggest, like, paleocon ally with the right. David Duke did nothing wrong, and therefore, like, that's how we're going to get libertarianism is populist, right-wing, whatever. And then Trump comes along, they're horrified by him, and they become the biggest, like, woke libertarians without any acknowledgement of their past activism. And it's like, well, yeah. Where do you think this came from?
Where do you think?
A little contrition would be nice.
A little contrition.
Yeah. But... Whatever.
What else can we say?
What else can we say?
But we love you, Matt, sort of. I enjoy reading the Substack. And
it is a good Substack.
Happy to have more people expressing concern about our debt and such topics. People should talk about that more. It'd be nice if there was anyone or any massive people in politics who wanted to actually do something about it. We won't see that ever in our lifetime.
Yeah. All right.
Real black pill of an episode, but I guess we'll leave
let's talk about something fun. Is there anything fun on the list?
Fun? I mean, we did all the aughts comedy. That was fun.
That was fun. We enjoyed that. Do you remember that? I'm getting a little nostalgic for earlier in the episode.
I talked last week to Jason about all the million things I watched on the plane to Ukraine and back. What else am I consuming right now? I'm still high on that Backrooms movie. I can't stop thinking about it. I'm going to go see it again. And what else? No, not really. I downloaded the Final Fantasy VII remake game, which I was going to play, but I didn't play that. Oh, I know something else I want to talk about. Wait. I got a little bit more juice in me. We just came up with this author intent in movies and TV, because the House of the Dragon show...
I saw you write that down. I was going to ask you what you meant by
The House of the Dragon show, which a lot of us watch here. Reason I take it you don't watch this one.
I watched the first season, and it was
first season was pretty good. The second season was a little forgettable. Not bad, but meandering. Third season is really getting going. Big sea battle right off the bat. This is House of the Dragon, a Game of Thrones successor show, although it takes place well before Game of Thrones. It's about the civil war among the Targaryen family, like 150 years before Game of Thrones, where the dragons all die off because they all kill each other in battle. Yeah. And my biggest criticism, by the way, is inconsistency in dragon combat, but I addressed that last week. How vulnerable the dragons are to conventional attacks from arrows and things is wildly inconsistent in both this show and Game of Thrones. Not from like season to season, but like from minute to minute. It's wildly inconsistent. Problem I have, but no matter. The show has made a lot of little changes, or some more notable changes from the source material, which George R.R. Martin hates and has said he hates, and he has said "you're dead to me" to the guy who makes the show.
Wow.
And I kind of think he's right about that in general. George R.R. Martin has said this, and I do agree with him, basically, that 99 times out of 100, the TV producer or whatever, director, or the movie director comes up with some idea that's not in the book, and it's worse.
It's going to fuck it up.
And he thinks but of course he would say that.
Because he has pride of authorship.
But I think he's basically right. Because I don't like, I also tend to not like any changes to things from the source material.
Yes. So I think you got to go all in on one or the other.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you're adapting a novel for TV or movies, I think you can either be meticulous about representing it accurately as it was written on screen,
right?
And there's a joy to that, right? Particularly if you're a fan of the original work and you just want to see it, right? Or you can do the more risky thing, but can often be very rewarding, which is to say, I am making this story in a new medium, and therefore I am going to pull out some other elements that was maybe de-emphasized, or add a new take, a new impression, a new shading, whatever.
Right.
And we're going to make it its own thing,
right,
with some, of course, loving homage to the original, right? Both can be very successful. The failure mode of the first, of course, is that something is written as a novel and therefore it doesn't quite fit the conventions of television or movies. And that's why you always, when they try to do that, that's often kind of the criticism from people who stumble into it for the first time, not having the source materials. Oh, I'm confused. This plot point took too long. Why did we have that character or whatever? There would be all those kind of edits you'd make if you're making a script, but they stuck to the original, right? To that, I would just say, like, okay, fine, it wasn't made for you. It was made for me, the fan, right?
Right.
The other one is, again, much higher risk, because maybe the changes you made are bad and no one likes them, and then it also pisses off the fans, right?
Yes. I think pissing off the fans is a big risk that people should try to avoid.
That's your core audience. And so you
make it for them.
Yes, exactly.
And the things I like, when I think of adaptations of things, the ones I think were really good are, like, universally the ones that I think hew very close to the source material. Yeah, so I mean, with your Lord of the Rings, your Harry Potters, right? Those are very close to the source material. There are changes to them for the sake of, translating it to film, but they're pretty faithful adaptations of the source material. A little bit of some cuts here, some cuts there, but not. Neither of those invent entirely new characters,
right,
for the most part.
Yeah, honestly, the adaptions that change a lot and succeed are generally those where you don't know that it was an adaptation, right? So, I mean, a couple movies that come to mind would be something like Drive. You ever see Drive with Ryan Gosling? Okay, so very good. Bryan Cranston's in it too. But it's just like, I mean, there's almost no dialogue in the movie. It has like a kind of like synthy indie soundtrack. It's just like visually, aurally, whatever, audioly, whatever. It's just like a very distinctive and interesting and awesome movie. And obviously, so much of what makes the movie great is things you couldn't replicate in a novel, right? But it's based off a book, right? Yeah. And Drive is an excellent movie. Another one, you ever see Layer Cake with Daniel Craig? Man, come on, man. So that's like a mob movie. And it's the mob movie is, I mean, it's excellent. It has a distinctive visual style, and it's got like good narration and montage, whatever, it's excellent, but it's also based off a book. I haven't read the book. Very few people have, right? It's not like a classic book people are demanding be made into a movie. But Layer Cake is also an excellent movie, right? But again, it's like it succeeds because they did something new that you couldn't do with the novel, and then people also don't have this preformed idea of what it should be, right? Something that's controversial, I think, succeeds. Although I completely understand why people who like the book completely fucking hate this movie. Is you ever watch Starship Troopers?
I have seen a lot of the movie, yes.
Yeah, so...
I don't like it, but I know other people do like it. Didn't care for it, but...
I kind of do, because it's kind of a satire of the book on which it's based, right? It's about, the Robert Heinlein book about humanity fighting these disgusting bug characters. And the book, there is a bit of, these are just two civilizations that don't really understand each other, but it's some people describe it as a fascistic novel because it is very much glorifies military service and duty and combat, right? Whereas the movie is basically, it's hard to describe. It's like if the movie was made for a fascist universe where like the good guys are the fascists, right? And it's just completely tearing the book to shreds. It's a disgusting satire. It's just like gross and gory. It's basically like the cast of a reality TV show thrown into combat with disgusting space bugs. And I think the movie works too, but they're definitely separate entities, right?
Right, you can tonal differences are even render something so different from the source material.
Right, yeah, you expected this thing to be sweet and it's sour instead.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, just don't get started on Warheads. But
are those the really sour ones?
Yeah.
Rank the flavors, go. What's the best one?
Of Warhead?
Yeah.
I mean, it's all just like sugar droplets with sour coating.
The green one's the best one.
I always like a red gummy.
You like the red
sucker.
One?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Didn't know you
I don't like green. I don't like green.
What? Green's always the best flavor.
No, completely disagree.
So you get your sour apples, you don't want a sour apple?
Yeah, sour apple is better, but that's not normally, green is normally like some disgusting melon, Like
red is often a melon. What are you talking about?
But a good melon.
Or a strawberry, or a wild cherry, or a peppermint every now and then. You get a peppermint if you've redded yourself.
No, but green is also minty, right?
I like the light blue is often a good flavor.
Light blue is
can be a good one.
It's safe. It's not risky. Yeah, you're swimming in the shallow.
If I'm picking, you got a thing of jelly beans, and then you've eaten the jelly. Let's say a bowl of jelly beans you have out, and you have a few today, you have a few tomorrow. Eventually, what's left in the jelly bean bowl? It's all the white and brown ones. Correct?
No, the white is the best jelly bean.
The coconut?
Yes.
I like coconut as a flavor, but I don't go for them in jelly beans, I guess. Because that's what I'm left with.
Well,
a bunch of white ones and brown ones and any black one, because that's going to be black licorice, which is the most terrifying flavor of all.
I like black licorice.
But all the greens and blues go first for me.
Wow. Okay, I'm going to have to come over to your house and eat your leftover jelly beans.
We're jelly bean compatible. Yeah. We should go on a jelly bean date.
Yeah, I would love that.
How nice. Well, we've planned this expedition for us, so that's good.
Excellent.
And I think we can...
Okay, no conflicts. That's great.
Let's leave it there.
A little federalism of jelly beans.
Yeah. Okay. You eat a jelly bean on us, and we'll see you all next week.